connected.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and hope you're having a very, very nice Saturday evening. I know it's quite cloudy outside and a little bit rainy, but I'm sure you're enjoying this evening as well. A big warm welcome for this next series, We Care series. We have a very interesting topic for you today about nutrition. But before we go ahead, a little bit of IWF. I think most of you here, our audience, are very, very familiar about IWF. It's an Indian women group started in 2015 to help integrate Indian women living here in Finland to the Finnish society. And we're so happy. It's been uh, almost 7 years now. And we've done our bit to help you integrate here in Finnish society, empower women. And we've had a lot of activities related to fitness, mentorship, cultural, and other activities. And one specific thing that we are very proud of is this We Care series, which started during the pandemic. And the We Care series is nothing but this online podcast which we bring to you and bring in new speakers and new topics, very important topics to you each time. And today we have with us Lalitha, and she's going to be talking to you on a very important topic about nutrition. So along with me here also today, we have Kritika and Maitri from IWF volunteering, helping us with this chat. So over to Kritika. Kritika will introduce our speaker and take it over. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ramya. Good evening, everyone. I think I'm the happiest person today here because I have the rare opportunity to introduce a very dear friend of mine. For 25 years, we were friends from our bachelor's days. So I don't get this opportunity very often, but I would like to have it. So I'm very happy to introduce my friend and a person, a master of many hats, Mrs. Lalitha Ramamoorthy. Lallu to all our dear friends here as the speaker for total love and care, the nutritious way for all of us. We cannot have a more fitting speaker today than Lalitha with her award for excellence on healthcare empowerment for women from Lead India Foundation in 2022. I think we have the best speaker today. So who is Lalitha? So you already know that she is a friend of mine for the past 25 years. But what has she done in these 25 years and why should we have her as our best speaker here? So she, after her graduation with a bachelor's degree in food science, nutrition, and dietetics from Coimbatore, she moved to the US. So she's like one of us, an expert living in a different country away from home. So in the past 25 years, she has achieved another master's degree in food science and nutrition from Wayne State University, and also a registered dietitian certification from Michigan State University. And this is not all. Most important thing she does is everything for the community. She is a trained singer, trained classical dancer, and then she has founded the World School of Music and Dance 14 years ago, and she is still running it, really spreading the essence of Indian culture, fine arts to the community in the US. She doesn't stop there. Can you believe she is a mom of 24 and a 21-year-old, two handsome men? How does she keep with that? She's running a health wellness integrative company called Vayu Shakti, and she will tell more about it to us very soon. She's also a beauty pageant, a winner of Mayokam Queen in 2021 among 300 contestants in the US. So what more? Also a TEDx speaker. I keep forgetting her achievements and I can only remember so much. And I think that's enough for the couple of minutes that we have. She can tell a lot about herself a bit more in very shortly. But we are very happy to have you, Lalitha. You are an inspiration for all the Indian women living in Finland and also our Finnish friends who may be joining and watching you. Very proud to have you. And here is the floor for you. Please go ahead.
First of all, a very, very warm hug, even if it's a virtual hug, Kriti. It's so lovely to go back in time and enjoy and reminisce in those beautiful days that we've had as classmates and benchmates. It really gives me a lot of joy to bring this back on this particular day. That being said, first of all, a very warm welcome and namaste to one and all. And I really thank IWF Finland to give this opportunity for me. as Lalita, that Kritika knows, yes, it's been a wonderful journey since I left Coimbatore and became a mom and became a teacher and became a influencer in many ways or an entrepreneur in many ways. And it's been a great journey. And I should say there has been so many hands put together, very related to the topic for today, right? That little hug that you get and that care that you get, that entire community that supports you with everything that you do. So what I am today and what I've been able to achieve is a lot of support from family, a lot of support from friends and loved ones. And all I can say is that if we have that community, which is a very good representation of what IWF is today, where many different women come together, so many different cultures, so many different ethnicities that could be within the Indian diaspora also, that you could wonderfully share thoughts, and you come to realize that we're all still the same, right, in many ways or form, but yet different. So that being said, Kritika, once again, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. It's lovely to hear it from another friend and a good old friend. And thank you, Ramya and Maitri, for being such wonderful hosts. And this I see is being also telecasted live on Facebook. So for those of you who would like to put on the questions, we can always address it as and when we go. But I would humbly request all of you to kind of put it at the end where we have a Q&A session. But if you do have particular questions, when you see a slide, you are most welcome to put it in the chat box that goes live. That way our hostesses can actually take charge and kind of compile them together and put them in order that it comes. So Kritika, can I go ahead and start the presentation? Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much. So today's topic, my dear girls and my dear friends, I do say girls because this is for the women, by the women. This is all about total love and care, the nutritious way. As it is said, and the good old saying goes, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. We do stand out to be different physiologically, biologically, and many different ways, yet we are of the same mankind race. And I have had the opportunity to kind of dwell into this topic a little bit more in my own community, where I have represented a lot of women forums and women gatherings, where the need for this kind of discussion, this kind of engagement is so critical. And that is why I called it TLC, because it's all about how much love and care you put for yourself. And today we shall focus it on the nutritious aspects, because my expertise comes in that. So that being said, the order of, or the agenda for the day would be, I would love to greet everybody and then talk a little bit about general women health, then go into a deeper insight of why it is important for us to have that strength, that energy, and that immunity to be sustained. And then I should also talk a little bit more about the nutritional requirements in general for women versus statistics that speak about what's the need of the hour. And as Asian Indian women, which is the majority of people we are approaching today, or the the people that we're talking to today, there can be some specifics that we can also focus on, but this in general can apply to most women from any part of the world. I should also discuss a little bit more in depth about the hormonal health, which is very integral and very critical in a woman's life. And of course, I will give you some details about how you can reach out to me and how I can be of help and value for you. So once again, a pleasure indeed to see you all. Wishing you all a very, very happy Diwali in advance. Wishing you all happy Karwa Chauth, so many festivals. I can't even name all of them, but just the ones that have passed. It's really nice that, IWF is putting this event together, and I am happy that I'm able to put this talk together for you. I'm an integrated wellness health coach. I'm a registered dietitian, as Kritika spoke. I'm an entrepreneur because I do run a school, a nonprofit organization, which is 14 years old, a performing artist where I have performed in many different parts of the world, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Germany, India, the United States, to name a few. And what is HEP Lalitha? That's just my tag. So that's one of the ways that you could reach out to me. H stands for health coach, E for entrepreneur, and P for performing artist. Kind of added that oomph to the prefix of my name. So Hep Lalita is the way you could reach out to me on many social media accesses. So what is this all about? I mean, we're talking about TLC and we're talking about women's health. And where do we categorize, what aspects of health do we really need to focus upon? This whole aspect of women's health is not just focused on one particular time zone or one particular lifespan. It takes into account your past health, your current health, most importantly for women, the reproductive health, your prenatal care and health, and of course, leading forward, your future health. That's kind of destined to be depending on everything else. So what is most important and why is it so? We are going to predominantly focus on how do we boost our energy, or what are some of the ways that we can enhance and give that energy or the metabolism to be triggered and to stay well. We're going to be talking a little bit about boosting immunity and of course, keeping the body in shape. We're not talking about being an hourglass here. We're talking about how I and you and many other women can fit into their body size and yet feel healthy without any body image issues and still feel strong and powerful and well in terms of physical, emotional, spiritual, social, and mental well-being. So the things that I really wanted to focus on, there are a few important things that I will focus on. And those are, number one, we had this discussion between us with the IWF group just a few minutes ago, talking about enough sleep. We do talk about the black circles under our eyes as we are, growing in chronological age. Some of that is definitely related to how much we're able to put rest to our beautiful eyes that give us everything, the power of vision and the power of seeing good and seeing bad. And we do need to put them, to rest periodically while the body is working 24/7. So a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep, my dear beautiful women, is absolutely critical. Whether you catch that all in one stretch, or if you are a multitasker, and if you want to kind of catch an afternoon nap, like a power nap, and then catch a few in the night, that's perfectly fine. But your circadian cycle is very critical. And what do you mean by the circadian cycle? Your periodic cycle that you follow for your sleep cycle. Let's say I'm jet lagged and I'm in a different time zone and I travel to India, then I have a 12-hour jet lag, and then I'm suddenly changing time zones. Maybe a few days it's going to take for me to kind of, readjust my circadian cycle. But if I'm not able to do that, I'm totally going to be sleep deprived, especially if it's like a short trip and stuff. So trying to catch that little, they call that the cat naps. That's very important. And it's perfectly all right to do so, whether you are a tired mom, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are an executive, whether you are a mother who makes the entire home happen. Needless to say, every single woman needs about 7 to 8 hours of good sleep for them to be able to rejuvenate, recycle, and the body, believe it or not, does all the work, all the repair during those 7 to 8 hours. Number two, very important. As a dancer myself, I kind of maybe am a little too harsh on that, maybe a little too strong on my friends and my family too, to keep yourself moving all the time. You want to be on the move all the time, stay steady, stay steadfast, be physically active. And when I talk about being dynamic with your movements, if you are a walker, maybe try something different periodically. Maybe go for a dance. If you are a dancer, then maybe try some yoga. If you are a yoga teacher or if you're a yoga practitioner, maybe try some Pilates. If you're a Pilates person or a Zumba person, then maybe try some walking. You have to periodically change the dynamism of your physical activities, because some of the muscles that you use for these different types of activities are variant. And it's very important that you keep cycling, just like how we change ourselves every 7 years, they say. maybe 5 to 7 years. You do need to change your physical activities periodically to different, parts of your lifespan. Eat to sustain nutritional density. My God, I can't dwell enough on this topic, my dear girls, because this is your most important thing. If it's about 20% of physical activity that keeps your body well and alive, it is almost 70% of what you put into your system that keeps you well and alive and keeps you going. That being said, we are all probably still yet, there is a lot of deprived communities around us in this world, but yet we are talking to a majority of people, at least in this forum, who probably have the access to enough food, hopefully. But if you don't, then you want to make sure that you also get nutritional adequacy rather than just getting plenty of food in quantity. By this, I mean trying to space your food, trying to eat smaller portion sizes, even multiple times if it is required, but ensuring that you get all the nourishment that you need. Keep the child in you alive. How I love this. Every one of us has a child in us, whether you're a 50-year-old or a 20-year-old or an 80-year-old. That child in you has to stay alive for all your life, because that's what gives you the zeal and the enthusiasm and the zest to do things. Regardless of what age you are, age is a misnomer, in my opinion. So regardless of what age you are, you do need to keep that child in you alive. And I think IWF is doing a phenomenal job in that sense. So the me time versus we time. This is a very important thing. And I think the way that we all should look at it is, how can I be a better person to the community, to my loved ones, to my family, to my friends, and everybody else, whether it's work or whether it's home, by giving myself that extra 1 hour or whatever it is, whether it's your passion, whether it's your hobby, whether it's your meditation, whether it's your reading book, whether it's your cooking session, whether it's your gardening, whatever that is, please ensure that you're able to give that to yourself. And the reason I'm dwelling on this particular slide a little longer is because I will be going a little faster in the other ones, but this is my main motto to all of you. So this is my take-home messages for you, if I may say so. So the me time versus we time. If you are taking care of yourself, you will take care of others around you with no trouble. Make your body happy with better hydration. Always remember to keep a bottle next to you if it is, or always remember to hydrate yourself. Many a times we think we're hungry, but we're actually thirsty. So at least 6 to 8 cups of water to keep yourself hydrated for beautiful skin and to keep those cells happy. Supplement nourishment as needed. The country that I live in, they say the urine that we pass, I'm not trying to, speak out to be gross, but they say the urine is a lot more expensive than our actual food, because we take pills or supplements for everything so much faster than we could get it from food. As much as I support supplements, and as much as I do recommend that you take supplements as required, you do want to ensure that you get it from real food and then supplement it. That's why it's called a supplement. And then you add on to it where needed. But it doesn't really mean that you have to take a Centrum and omega-3 and a fish oil and to add on all of that, because some of it you could actually get from your real foods too. Yes, the soil today that we are consuming is much more deprived than what our ancestors used to eat from. And maybe a bowl of spinach is probably 45 times lesser in nutrition. But that being said, it also depends on how you space out your foods. And that's what we're going to talk about. Lastly, my most favorite, add passion, spiritual enhancement, and affirmations to your life. So add as much as love and devotion to what you do what you love, and love what you do is my motto. So this is going to definitely add that extra energy and that power, then, because it's something that you love and you're not going to fail in what you love. Spiritual enhancement here really means trying to keep your zeal and your, complete acceptance of self as you are, where you are, in whatever stage of life you are. And affirmations, in my opinion, is something that I do make to myself every morning. I make very small affirmations. Today I'm going to try and smile to at least 10 people. Or today I'm going to make at least 5 people happy. Or today I'm going to be healthy and eat a healthy breakfast. Today I'm going to walk, whatever it is. Today I'm going to read a book. Today I'm going to be off my phone. Whatever affirmation it is, make it for yourself periodically. And it really makes the difference because the world's listening. So on to the next one. Today's facts of where we stand as, an ethnic group or around the world. Asian Indians are definitely walking time bomb, I should say, in many aspects of cardiovascular disease. This is not to startle you, but this is really the truth. We do have a much higher risk and maybe to an extent, the predisposed conditions of higher LDL cholesterol. And there's some of the other physiological aspects, which I cannot, talk all about it today. But cardiovascular disease is the topper there. The second important one is the communicable nutritional conditions. So this is why it is so important to discuss nutrition today. Non-communicable diseases are the third important one. Respiratory diseases, and obviously during COVID, many of you must have definitely seen that, as witnesses. Injuries and accidents, cancers, of course, and diabetes. I mean, it's kind of, rotated. Diabetes usually used to be the second and cancer used to be the third. But now we see with a lot of us being outside, maybe as immigrants, as non-residential Indians around the world, we have seen more affluence. And we have seen that we are, probably a bigger, as a population, we are looking at higher positions, CEO levels, executives. So the nutritional condition, communicable diseases are a lot more that we see that could be causes of disease and mortality. So the next one here that I would like to focus really on is strength, durability, and how do you maintain your muscle mass? There are several sources of protein being one of the building blocks of your muscles. And Asian Indians do have the, because majority of us may be, or we are at least categorized as predominantly vegetarians, we have a possibility of losing muscle mass faster, especially women. So if you are a vegetarian, you can still be absolutely fine getting all your protein for the day. You just want to ensure that you combine them in the right way, where grains combined with legumes would probably suffice all your nutritional needs for protein. And there, I mean, there are some grains, for example, that could be deficient in essential amino acids. I don't want to go too much into the depth of the science of this, but I just want to give you an understanding superficially that protein is made of amino acids, and there are some which is essential, which your body needs, some which is non-essential, which your body can make. The essential ones are the ones that you need to get from food. And this you can get it, let's say if you're a vegetarian, you can get it from a combination of foods like grains combined with legumes. And this goes with very well with like a rice and a dal, or a rice and a sambar, or a chapati and a dal, that kind of combination. And our ancestors have taught well about combining those foods. For meat eaters, of course, you do have a higher hand there because you do get all of your amino acids from dairy products, meat products, poultry products, eggs, and fish. And as I had mentioned earlier, South Asians particularly need protein because they have lower skeletal mass or muscle and lean mass, and a higher percentage of body fat. I'm talking specifically about women here also, including health damaging deep subcutaneous and visceral fat. We all somehow are blessed with a lovely, the apple shape or the pear shape they call. We love, we got blessed with more fat around the abdominal area. That's just the physical make of us, most of us, which puts us at higher risk for heart disease and diabetes. So the big question here is, Lalitha, what is enough protein? I mean, I hear so much buzz about protein. I hear so much buzz about intermittent fasting. Where do I find out what is enough protein? Well, let me just tell you that one thing, if you are not going to get enough protein, you're going to have a condition called sarcopenia, which is going to be wasting of muscles, and you're going to be feeling very tired, very lethargic. And a lot of times this could be because of protein deficiency. Added to that, with protein deficiency, you also are going to compromise on a lot of the other nutrients, which is bound in a lot of ways to the protein foods. So deficiency of B12, which is a big thing, especially for vegetarians. Vitamin D, if you don't go out in the sun, you need to get it from other foods. Zinc, iron, omega-3 fatty acids. These are very critical, and I will be talking about them a little bit more. So a sedentary adult or a sedentary, a person who does average amount of work, not too much strenuous work, requires anywhere from 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram body weight. So let's assume Lalitha is about 50 kilos in weight on the scale. She needs 50 grams of protein a day. And then that's exactly what I have here for you. And the related food aspects would be 2 glasses of milk, 1 bowl of cooked lentils for a vegetarian, or it could be 2 eggs, 2/3 pieces of a fish or a chicken, and that would suffice your 60 grams of protein. Now, people who are physically active, and this is generally for any athletes or dancers or bikers or anybody who's got more physical activity and they're regularly being athletic, that person would require 1.2 to 1.5. Also, growing adults, adolescents, young adults do need more protein because they are building up their muscle mass, whether this is a male or a female, but I'm more specific with female, and they do need that protein. And also, when you're talking about older adults or seniors, you do need to focus a lot about the protein because they start losing muscle mass. So older women, you definitely need to focus after about 50 or after about the menopause age, you do need to focus on getting sufficient protein. And also when pregnant or lactating, you need about 80 grams of protein, almost double the amount for a person, average person or a sedentary person. This is because you've got 2 lives now feeding besides just 1 life. All right. So Kriti and me, when we spoke about initiating this topic about, how do we discuss this? Where do we draw a line? How much can we talk about? There's so much you can discuss about women's health. But then I really wanted to focus on specifics. And the ones that I'm going to focus on is some of the hormonal health factors that is very critical and very important in a woman's life, whether it's before they're attaining puberty or during puberty or after puberty when they are ready to have a child or at menopause and after menopause. So all of these times, these particular hormones play a very critical role in every woman's life. The first one I'm going to talk about is the progesterone, which is, the estrogen, my pardon. It's the estrogen where this is one of the most important hormones, which plays a critical role in maintaining your, ovaries in good health, your uterus in good health, your reproductive system, especially in good health. And from foods, you don't get directly something that's called estrogen or the hormone by itself, but you get what's called the phytoestrogens. And phytoestrogens may have the estrogenic or the anti-estrogenic activities. I don't mean to throw a lot of, science terms in there, but these are definitely going to be applicable for you when you understand it. So please read through these at a later time if you do get a chance, because this is going to be available for you to view on YouTube too. Majority of research shows that phytoestrogens have a variety of health benefits. And what are some of the foods? You've got so many out there. Flaxseed, for example, can be a great protector for breast cancer. Soybean can be a wonderful phytoestrogen. So depending on what your blood levels of estrogen levels are, which you could find out from your medical doctor or your OBGYN or your gynec, they will be able to tell you if your estrogen levels are running normal from a physical exam or a regular exam. And if you are having like hot flashes or you're having irregular periods, or if you are at a stage where you're having a PCOD condition, some of these things are very important to check on. That's when you need to enhance your food intake with all of these foods that we're talking about. So I'm not going to list all of them because it's all out there and you just need to read them out. But I just want to kind of just highlight a few. For example, berries. They are one of the best fruits that you can consume. Strawberries, blueberries, huckleberries, blueberries, whatever you can add in a breakfast meal every day. That will definitely give you a lot of the antioxidants, which protects you from cancer and also enhances the phytoestrogen effects. And cruciferous vegetables are also a great source. Cauliflower, anything that's a little bit more gassy. Cruciferous vegetables are the cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli categories, Brussels sprout categories. You can add these, and sometimes, which I'll be talking about later, for example, with the thyroid hormone, this could be a slightly different scenario. We'll talk about it at that time. High levels of any of these foods, example for some of these foods that we're talking about, can also lead to infertility, breast cancer, decreased thyroid function. So there is a nominal level that you have to consume. On an average, what you need to consume of these fruits and vegetables, I will be talking about a little later. So that's our little bit about estrogen that we're focusing on as far as a hormone, and how nutritionally you can enhance the estrogen activity, keep it in balance, keep it uptight with including some of these great foods. Next up, we have the progesterone. From the menstrual cycle through conception, pregnancy, menopause, this is a hormone which is very critical in function in every stage of a woman's life. Every month, progesterone is produced in the ovaries for the female bodies after ovulation. And the most significant role of the hormone is to maintain a healthy balance between estrogen and uterine effects. Again, can't stress enough how important this hormone is and how many different wonderful features that you can get from here. So how can one actually add more value with progesterone through foods? And some of these wonderful foods we're talking about, I figured I'll add some picture demonstrations too, so it makes it a lot easier just with, avoiding words. So omega-3 and the omega-6s, which not only is great for increasing progesterone function, but also for many other wonderful, great properties, like it gives you enhanced protection from heart disease. It gives you enhanced protection from for better brain function, and a lot more. Vitamin C. Anytime you do your morning cereals that's got iron, you always want to combine that with vitamin C, because vitamin C is kind of like a precursor or like a good enhancer for better absorption of iron. So when your hemoglobin is low, you always want to make sure with taking the iron, you want to enhance the vitamin C levels too. Found in all of your fruits and vegetables. So my biggest appeal to all of you is make your plate colorful. Give it all the colors that you can, the reds, the yellows, the blues, the whites, the greens, and the purples. And there's no way that you would not get enough vitamin C for the day. So you don't really need to take a vitamin C pill. Even though this is a sensitive vitamin to sunlight and to water, if you are getting it enough from food, you're good to go. And then the third one here is vitamin B. Very, very important. There are different categories of vitamin B, but progesterone enhanced vitamin B, mainly are B1 and B2. There's also other ones. And these come from your beans, your potatoes, and there is other sources that's listed out here for you that you can also add on. Finally, there's a few more here that I would like to talk about. Zinc, which is a great immune booster, not only because it is increasing your immunity and helping you with a lot of the respiratory enabling factors, but it also enhances progesterone function. Magnesium, great for the muscles and equally important for your progesterone function. And then spices. This is something that I just want to alert all of you. For example, primrose is one of the spice that they add, or a primrose oil. You can even get it as primrose flowers. If you add this in your tea or add this a little bit, even rosemary for menstrual cramps, for really bad pain, stomach aches during, or abdominal cramps during period cycles, the primrose oil or the rosemary oil does wonders to ease you out a little bit. Just FYI for all of you. I'm sorry, I think we lost that there. Yeah, we're right here on track. Lastly, the hormone that has definitely done some impact in my life thyroid hormone. We talk about the thyroid hormone only because it is one of the most critical hormones, and it also controls the metabolism in your life. Thyroid hormones are vital for proper functioning of the female reproductive system, since they modulate the metabolism and development of the ovarian, uterine, and placental tissues. Therefore, both low or high levels of thyroid can be a concern, and it could cause fertility issues, both in animals, as they have studied it in labs, and in humans. I would like to kind of just touch upon a personal story here. And I think that's something people one way remember, when they're spoken about, is
Sorry.
Hello?
Can you share your screen once again?
Sure. Oh, is it not sharing? I'm sorry. Yeah. Hold on a second. I don't know what happened here. Give me a minute here. Apologize for that. Where did we lose?
From the thyroid, we have to see the thyroid.
Okay,
slide.
yeah, I think, yeah, is this good now?
Yes.
Okay,
but
sorry.
put it in the presentation mode.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Glad you told me, Kritika. And I'm playing with multiple screens here, so.
I was just wondering, but Ramya was fast enough to tell it.
Yes. Okay, so here you go. Protein. No, I think we went back a little bit. There you go. All right. So this is my personal story for you guys. Not to kind of bring any attention to me, but I just wanted to say that that's probably one of the ways you will all remember about thyroid. When I was about 38, I had a thyroid cancer, and I was operated, and I had a surgery for that. I lost my voice thrice due to that. It has predisposed conditions where it led to voice nodules. And sure enough, we later found out it was because of the thyroid. And now I don't have a thyroid, but I do function with medication. And I have seen in many other studies that the alert for thyroid, especially with the South Asian Indian women population, it is an important factor. So please keep your thyroid levels at check and make sure that you periodically run some tests during your physical examinations or your monthly examinations or your yearly examinations, because it is very critical for metabolism, for weight concerns. If you are running higher on the scale and unusually gaining a lot of weight, if you're having fertility issues, or if you're having menstrual issues, these are all something that need to be addressed with thyroid concerns. So with thyroid, this is like a fine balance again, right? With thyroid, we have a lot of foods which could be called as thyroid superfoods. And sure enough, after coming to a country like the United States, I got introduced to a lot more foods besides my own ethnic foods that I would like to. And I think I've kind of taken up to all of those traditional recipes that my grandmother passed on to me, like a hand-me-down recipes that have actually become a lot more useful in today's age and time. And so I call it Party Vaidyam. For those of you who know Tamil, Party Vaidyam means grandma's, little recipes, or those quick, easy fixes for you that you could do, whether it's stomachache, menstrual cycle stomachache, or a common cold, whatever it is. When you have like a molagat rasam, for example, that could be like the best cure for, a cold, which you don't really need to take a lot of the zinc and a lot of the vitamin C. You could probably just cure yourself with pepper rasam. That being said, thyroid superfoods are quite many, but you want to be careful consuming these because you want to know whether you have the high or the low of the thyroid levels. And that is one of the most important things, because people just say, oh, I have a thyroid condition, but they really aren't aware whether they are taking the Synthroid to control the thyroids because it's high level or low level, or they're kind of regulating it. So please talk to your doctor, talk to your gynec, talk to your OBGYN, and understand where you stand with the thyroid levels. This could be a predisposed condition. This could be because of other conditions, or maybe a case like me. And I have seen many studies talking very critically about South Asian women being more vulnerable and more susceptible to thyroid problems. So here are some great foods that you can include. For example, roasted seaweed. This is not an Indian origin food, but it's more like a Japanese or a Asian origin. And you can include this from your vegetarian sushi foods. Seaweed is also included in a lot of the drinks that you could put it in. And a lot of that, the trace element that's in the seaweed actually enables the thyroid function to be stabilized. Salted nuts. And I'm going to put a task here. I'm just going to have Kritika and Ramya and Maitri be my guest to guess the nuts, because I've not named the nuts here. So if you can tell me, what is nut number 1, where I have the blue running around? What do you think, Kritika? Which is it? Macadamia, Brazil nuts, or hazelnuts?
I think it's macadamia nuts.
You are awesome, Kriti. Good job there. Good guess.
Okay.
All right. So Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, and hazelnuts. And so Ramya, what do you think? Which one is the hazelnuts?
The one below, probably.
This one here?
Yes.
And which is the Brazil nuts?
On the
This
right.
one?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Oh, I went back again. I do this a lot to myself. Don't worry. Hold on. We'll go back. Okay, sorry, girls. Yeah, so sorry, Ramya, that was a good guess, but this here, the little ones which has got the shape of a bean, that's your hazelnuts. And this here is the Brazil nuts.
Okay.
So Maitri, this is information for you also. So any of these nuts that you could include, put it in your banana bread, or you could add it in a biscotti, or be very fancy about that. Say, oh, I had some Brazil nuts today in my biscotti, and you could just be too fancy about it, right? But that's really going to enhance your thyroid function and really helps a lot. How are we on time, Kritika? Just want to make sure
Yeah,
that
quite
we're
okay.
good.
Please go
We're
ahead.
good?
Yeah.
Awesome. And so here, we're also talking about a lot of the other foods which are going to be giving you other great properties. For example, baked fish, for those who eat fish, even considering that they may be vegetarians, but they still consume fish. That's a separate category of people. Fish rich in omega-3, so fatty fish, baked salmon, cod, sea bass, haddock, or perch, or for lunch and dinner, about 3 ounces. The size of a deck of cards is the average size they talk about. Even better if you have it baked than fried or grilled, because the properties are going to be a whole lot better. Dairy products, if you are sensitive to dairy, there is a lot of other supplemental foods that you get, like oat milk or rice milk or almond milk. There's so many out there right now. But dairy products are a great enhancer that has iodine, which is one of the most important factors for thyroid function. So at one time, especially in India, this was a big concern. There is a belt of people geographically that were more susceptible to goiters because their soil didn't have enough iodine. And that was the whole purpose of iodizing your salt. This was like way back in many years. But now that can probably be a concern also, because our soils are being recycled and are not being used effectively. So iodine could be a deficiency, could be a concern there. So keep getting it from your dairy. And if there's any concerns with your thyroid, keep a check on it. Fresh eggs are always a great source of complete protein. One of the best source of protein, which is a complete protein, which has all the amino acids, is of course the good old egg, which will, there was one time that there was a scare and a big hoopla about it, that if you consume too much eggs, it's going to increase your cholesterol, but that's really not the culprit there. So eggs are a great source of good properties for selenium and iodine, which is very enabling for your thyroid. Finally, this was something that I would like to focus on a little bit more and dwell a little bit more. I love this little girl eating and enjoying her food, by the way, all beautifully dressed and decked up in Indian. So this is something which is eat right for our women. How can I ensure that I get a good meal? This is nice summary. Nutrient-rich foods that provide energy for women with busy lives and help you reduce the risk of disease. So when you are getting the energy-rich foods, whether it's carbohydrates, whether it's protein, whether it's fat, make sure that it's nutritionally also dense. Many of us are probably calorie dense, but nutritionally inadequate today. We are calorie rich, but nutritionally poor in many sense. So how can we enhance that? At least 3 ounces equivalent of whole grains in your meals, whatever that it is, lentils, pulses, all that is included in that category. 3 servings of low fat or fat-free if you want to be a little bit more be careful there. You could do fat-free too. 5 to 5.5 servings of protein equivalent foods, 1 to 1.5 cups of fruits a day, 2 to 2.5 cups of colorful vegetables. I'm all about colors. Being an artist and a creative person, I love my colors. So add as many colors, throw as many colors as you can with your food. And iron-rich foods is very critical to keep your heme levels up. Folate, very important for the heart, especially after you've had your menopause. Cardiovascular disease is a bigger risk for post-menopause women, so be careful. And folate is very, very important for pregnant women too. Make sure you get enough folate. Daily calcium and vitamin D levels, extremely important for your bones. If you want to stay strong on that skeletal bone structure that you have and not have the curvature or the bone loss at a certain age, you definitely want to ensure you get sufficient calcium and vitamin D from the sun or vitamin D from the foods. Of course, in Michigan, we kind of get deprived. We kind of get teased many times. We get sun some days, we don't get some Sundays, but it looks like in Finland, you do get a lot of sun. So hopefully you're getting enough sun by going out for a nice brisk walk. And then, of course, guidelines for your added sugars or saturated fats, you want to follow the RDA guidelines or the recommended daily allowances. And for alcohol too, a drink the old French paradox still may stay true if it's for the aged wine, which has got a lot of antioxidants, but be very careful about the consumption of that. Balancing calories with activities. Always keep your calories in line with your activity levels. If you feel like you're not being as active, definitely eat lesser in calories, which doesn't mean you eat lesser in nutrition. You should balance your calories, not eat calorie dense food, which I mean portion sizes or fried foods or foods that is high in fat. That's where you will get your majority of calories. So be mindful about balancing calories versus activities. Ensure your second brain is always healthy. Hey, Maitri, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know you're all scapegoats today, but I'm just going to put you on the spot. Maitri, can you tell me, what do you think the second brain in our body is? Yes.
The subconscious mind?
Ooh, you're going too high level, girl.
Or
No.
maybe the tummy?
Yes, you got that right. There you go. Dot on. Very good. So it's your gut. The second brain that we actually meet. To me, this is my first brain. This is my second brain. If your gut's not functioning right, and if you're not giving it the sufficient probiotics and not taking care of it and not giving it sufficient of the bacteria, the good bacteria, which we are so, we're kind of just pounding it on everybody that you need to be ensuring that you have regularity in your bowel movements. You need to keep your gut clean, because everything that you think, say, and do is because of keeping your gut healthy. Trust me, if you keep your gut healthy, your focus is better. You talk better in your meetings. You're going to be more appealing to your people. You're going to be sharp. You're going to be at speed with everything that you do. So good job, Maitri. And this is for us to remember that your second brain needs to stay healthy with all the probiotics. Keep it hydrated well. Also ensure that it gets all the prebiotic foods too, which means some of your foods could be like banana, artichoke, and then your probiotics could be your yogurt, your homemade pickles, which is not too salted, like tempeh or kimchi. Those are all other foods, other Asian foods, but you have your own good old grandma pickles that we make with the jars. You remember, with those salted pickles with not too much salt added, just the right amount of bran, just the right amount of spice. Oh my God, my mouth's watering. I'm getting hungry here. So that's so much about that. And the reason why I actually displayed this little banana leaf here is the good old days when they actually served food in a banana leaf. Portion size was the best. That was probably the most impeccable way of eating. Today, of course, in the weddings, we can't say that because they have 15-course meals. You have Asian Indian, you have Asian American, you have Asian Chinese, you have Asian Mexican, all of it combined. So that's like, too much of an elaboration of a meal. But typically when you are eating on a banana leaf, the good old ways, portion sizes used to be according to the type of foods to be eaten. For example, when you're served a dessert, you're served in a very small portion. When you're served pickle, you're served in a very small portion. When you're served salt, it's a smaller portion. When sambar or rice is served or lentil is served, a bigger portion. When your vegetables are served, there is a bigger and decent amount of portion. So that probably is a good reflection for you to keep tab on your portion sizes. Maybe even buying like a portion size plate for yourself really helps to put perspective into portion control. I really think that the thali, which has got those little compartments, and if you can fill it majority with all the vegetables and fruits, maybe fruits separately, and minimize your dessert items there, and mainly focus on eating more fiber, and keep your carb control, where you probably do a third a cup of rice for each serving of sambar, rasam, and so on. I'm just talking about one particular type of food style, but it could be applying to all. Chapatis, for example, it could be 2. Puris, for example, it could be 3 small ones. So this is how you want to keep your portion under control. And this is why I wanted to display the banana leaf, because the good old way of eating it out of the banana leaf is definitely my favorite also. Lastly, how do I keep myself up and running and physically active? Very critical for all of us. Every household today has at least more than 2 or 3 techno toys that we play with: the phone, the screen, the idiot screen we used to talk about, and many other screens that come in front of us, the computers. And then that kind of confines us to our seats. So if you can actually get up off that seat every so often, keep yourself active, physically engaged. These would involve exercises for endurance, strength, balance, and flexibility. And you may ask me, Lalitha, is it important that each person does all 4 of them, or all of these? And my answer to that is yes, yes, and yes. Because if you do not focus on all 4 of them, there is different muscles that you're concentrating on. There's in different parts of the body that you're working out on. And that's why I had pictures of like a swimmer or a dancer or a walking, dead weights, if you do the weight resistance exercises, yoga for flexibility and for balance, and any type of biking, for example, would be counted under the same category of, swimming. So include all different types of physical activities there to ensure that you get variety, to make sure that you get the endurance, the strength, and the balance and the flexibility. And needless to say, yoga probably includes the aspects of meditation and keeping yourself in Zen, in the Zen mode, keeping yourself calm, keeping yourself composed, especially for a hyper energy person that I am. I do need my meditation session that can calm me down. So that's my go-to place if I do need my Zen. So meditation with yoga is definitely a great combination. And of course, you want to make sure you at least get 20 to 30 minutes of physical activity at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's the recommended. So my dear beautiful women, this is all the references, the number of references that I've referred all these topics from. You are most welcome to go and take a look at all of these, or one of these, or maybe a few of them that interest you, but it will definitely give you a lot of what I've spoken about today is probably directly out of there. So with due respects and with all respects to copyrights, I do say that these are all references that would apply to you. And that probably brings us towards the end of today's session. Before I leave, I just wanted to share, this has been a great opportunity. Kritika, thank you so much. And Ramya and Maitri, you've been great hosts. I had fun putting this together the whole of yesterday and day before. When I put this all together, I'm like, oh my God, there is so much I learned as I go. So what can you learn from this? And how can I be of value and help for you? Considering my expertise being in the field of health coaching, I would definitely be, I promise I will be a good health coach for you if you do need me at any given time. I will be a wonderful influencer. If you want me to come and talk at an event or anything that's virtual, I would be of great help for you. And as a performing artist, I can promise I can do quite a good job with entertaining you with classical music, Bollywood dancing, or performance arts if it's Bharatanatyam. As a registered dietitian, I can be very critical about clinical aspects of health and well-being. I do run a company of my own, which Kritika briefly spoke about, which is called Vayu Shakti. I don't run it alone. I do have two great partners that I share the desk with. And we run it out of US, and we're nationally available. Besides which, I also have my own company, which is called Dietitian for All, LLC. My personal tagline is nurture the artist, which is what I go by, because I think every single person amongst us has an artist in them in some way or form. We've all come out with different forms of skills and art. In my opinion, even technology is a great art. So whatever that is, keep that nurtured always. So, and lastly, I love the fact that I'm able to kind of marry the great profession of wellness and well-being to performing arts. And so I call myself the entrepreneur that I am. Once again, namaste. Thank you very much for this great opportunity. And you have been a wonderful audience. Total love and care always and ever, and stay healthy and happy.
Lalu, if I can call you here as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Such
You're welcome. You're welcome.
information packed and great guidance and good tips, helpful for all of us.
Sure.
Actually, my first question to you, because you said you adding a value to us here. When are you coming to Finland? Maybe that's the easiest question for you to answer now. Then we start with the rest of them.
Yes, probably immediately something we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
I would love to do that ASAP. I know that I'll probably be coming to more sunshine, if anything else, considering we're going to have peak winter in a few months here. But yeah, I would love to do that. Yes, sooner or later, I promise, Kritika. And if I do come to Finland, I have a home to be at. So I'll definitely look forward to that. But thank you so much. Should I stop sharing here so I can see you all? Or is that okay?
Yes,
or do you want
anything is okay. Anything is okay. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Maitri, perhaps you could start with the first question that you have picked from the audience.
You're muted, Maitri.
Sorry. Yes. So the first question we had was by Pavitra Kannan. When it comes to diet, it's very confusing in some medical websites. Say don't take milk, carrot, or cruciferous vegetables. What do you say?
Pavitra, I think this is where you need to put your thoughts together in terms of what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You know, this is where you need to talk about personalized nutrition. If you've been eating carrots all your life, and if you've been drinking milk all your life and you've had no trouble whatsoever, I would not look at that particular website and make a decision on what you need to continue doing. So if carrots really bother you, or if you have a high blood sugar level, and if carrots are of concern, let's say you're having carrot from carrot halwa and 2 cups of it, then it's probably a problem. But if you're just having carrot as a sabji or carrot as a salad, you know, they say don't eat carrots like a bunny because then it's too much sugar. But carrots by itself is excellent for carotene and a lot of the vitamin A. So yes, I would just continue doing it. And yes, that is why I say we have so much information out there, but not all of it is applicable to everybody. That is something we have to be very mindful. We are in a technology society and there is information galore. And I think one of the biggest concern which I see, especially with the Gen Zs or the people who are in the younger generation, is they get so caught up with all of these information that's available that they may not apply that completely to self. What works for Lalitha may not work for Maitri, may not work for Ramya, or what works for Kritika may not work for Pavitra. So you have to be more personalized and look at it as a case-to-case basis. Some of these are guidelines. That's why I say many of these are general guidelines. But what works and doesn't work has to be more specific from your true experiences that you have on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. So the second question is again from her. Is hypothyroid curable with consistent yoga and workouts?
Good question. I'm not going to be the master of all in terms of that particular answer, but I can definitely say there are particular there are particular yoga exercises. For example, the Vishuddhi chakra that's actually here near the throat, and they do the Brahmari exercise, which is extremely helpful to, rekindle the thyroid, if I may say so. They actually just do this here, and they keep the pressure points, and they buzz like a bee. They go, and that's a great exercise. That's called the Brahmari exercise for yoga. And they have seen with some of the Surya Namaskaram poses, when you do the Cobra exercise, it helps for the thyroid. But that being said, I wouldn't always only resort to doing it through yoga. If there is a medical condition of you having a low thyroid level or a high thyroid level, you do need to address that with your regular doctor too, if you need to take some medications for that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does vitamin D3 intake help to balance thyroid?
Good question again. As I had mentioned, any of these supplements that you take them mindfully. If your vitamin D levels are normal, there is no requirement for you to take vitamin D extra. But if you see that you are very vulnerable and susceptible to low vitamin D levels, which usually with a physical examination, they should be able to tell you, or if you have any bone conditions or thyroid conditions, vitamin D can be an enabler to stabilize your thyroid levels, but that's not the only thing that's going to help with thyroid levels. So you could be taking vitamin D, but there could be some other predisposed condition that's controlling the thyroid levels. You know what I'm talking about? So it's not always, so as a medical doctor, that person would probably be a better person to make a decision there. If your doctor says, hey, your vitamin D level is only 7, then you are definitely alarmed and you're going to say, I need to take vitamin D. Sometimes they give you an infusion. They'll give you a 1 week, 1 a day tablet, or they may give you once a week bigger dosages. They usually take IU dosages of like 1,000 IUs and stuff like that. Again, the vitamin D you take is not the vitamin that is actually made in the body. You take it inside and your kidney processes it and makes the actual vitamin D. So you got to be careful about vitamin D intake too, especially because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. So talk to your doctor, talk to your nutritionist, talk to a dietitian like me, and please take it with prescription.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question from Kalyan Sujata. Mm-hmm. There is less sun in Finland. What can be added in food for vitamin D?
Oh God, I wish we could both went about it. There's no sun in Michigan, girl. But yes, find out the days, keep tab on the weather conditions every day, even if it's a cold day and there's a little bit of sunshine. Go out for a brisk walk. And yes, we do cover ourselves with layers, especially people when they don't want to tan themselves, and they want that, there's a lot of concerns about the skin getting tanned. But actually, as Asian Indians or Asian descents, we are more, we are more at risk for absorption because we have higher melanin count. So we take longer to absorb that vitamin D. So you may need to be exposing yourself, even if it's for a few minutes in the sun. What I do is I go to next to the window that's got the sunlight, and I just sit there and I say, Surya Deva, please give me all the good rays. I talk to sun. So to answer your question, if you do not get enough vitamin D on a regular basis through the sun or through the dairy products or through the oils and nuts and seeds, then your resort is going to be slightly different. But we are getting to a point where vitamin D deficiency is not a pandemic yet, but an epidemic. There is a big concern. Even men, they're having great issues and mental concerns, wellness concerns because of vitamin D, because vitamin D can really kind of downregulate your moods. So if you're not in good spirits and not a happy person for many reasons, that's why it's called the happy hormone. So you need to keep a tab on that. Yes, I hope I answered that question.
Yes,
I can actually, sorry, Maitri, I interrupted you. Yes, I can actually pick on that, Lalitha, and also say a comment here. Can you believe that in India, which is the land of sun, the raise in vitamin D deficiency is so high? Can any of us believe that fact? It's mainly because of the lifestyle changes where no one is in the sun. all the time moving in cars or some other form of transportation, or living in apartment, not coming out. The entertainment is mostly from the screens and things like that. And then even when they are coming out in sun, they try to avoid it because of tanning and things like that. So it's a shocking fact now in India, people are getting vitamin D deficient.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you still remember, how we used to get completely masked, like close our faces, close our hands, wear gloves. I don't know why that was really started. I do understand that the UV rays can be a little bit more harmful to the skin. There could be other effects of it, but a normal exposure to sun shouldn't cause so much harm. So a general like 9 to 4 job, if you're just getting exposed with your bike ride or something like that, shouldn't cause a problem on a regular basis. But yeah, of course, with pollution, there is also those, concerns, and that's why they wear those. But that's a big concern. And that's why I said it's an epidemic today in many parts of the world.
Yeah. Maybe a good clarification here for the audience as a nutritionist ourselves is that vitamin D, it's not present in any natural food per se. So we really needed to get it from the sun. So if you're not able to get it from the sun, look for foods which are fortified with vitamin D. You don't have to always take them as tablets, but for example, orange juice is a good source which is fortified with, can be fortified with vitamin D and both C. That's one source you can look for. And some of the soya milk products or soy products, they're also fortified with vitamin D. And many of the cereals, don't go for the cereals which has a lot of sugar, but go for these sugar-free cereals which are fortified with vitamin D. This is one way that we make sure that we have adequate vitamin D. So maybe that also helps. And to the other question that is the relevance of vitamin D to thyroid. There have been some studies done which say that taking vitamin D supplements also help in producing the TSH hormone, which is relevant for your hypothyroid functions. So in that way, it is a bit relevant, but we can't say for sure. So everything in moderation is the key for us to keep up in shape.
Correct.
So my question, sorry.
No, Kritika, I think you've kind of definitely covered it very well. But just the point of caution there is that always check those levels periodically with vitamin D levels or TSH, because they always do that correlation. And when those blood levels are not normal, that's when you need to really be concerned about. So on a regular basis, people become so paranoia about these things that if few people out there have vitamin D deficiency, or they say, oh, I have low thyroid levels, they start consuming extra vitamin D without asking or consulting with a doctor. They become self-consultants, and there are a lot of people who do that. So that's where you need to be cautious about.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Can I interrupt if that is
please.
okay? A lot of us, like in general, we do not know how to consume this vitamin D. We just go out, we get those tablets and things like that. So a doctor had recommended me that I need to take vitamin D with fatty foods, that helps in the system to break it. So is there a way that you can guide us in general, like if we are planning on taking vitamin D, how to take it exactly, what is the right way to consume it? Or to well,
the best way usually, at least the gynecologists or the doctors that we have here generally recommend that you take it first thing in the morning before you consume all other foods, because absorption could be better, because through the course of the day, whatever you consume will be enabling in terms of the fat availability. And maybe in the morning, you could probably enhance that with a yogurt, or, not a fat-free yogurt, maybe some like a Greek yogurt or a regular yogurt that's got about 2% milk. You can get some fat from there. Or if you would like to have a cereal, that in vitamin D, again, the form of vitamin D that you take, again, needs to be processed further when it's taken in the body also, right? So you need to remember that you take it with a lot of water. They do recommend that you take a lot of water. And in addition, take other foods that are precursors for vitamin D, as Kritika rightly said. It could be oils, it could be nuts. So a handful of nuts could be a good option for getting some oils, some fat, because vitamin D by itself is a fat soluble vitamin, which means the medium that it requires to be absorbed better is a fat. So any olive oil or, any kind of oils that can be added to your foods, if you are making yourself a pancake, or if you're making a dosha, or if you're making yourself some idli with a little bit of dosa podi, you can have some oil. These could be mediums for you to support better absorption of vitamin D. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so sorry, Kritika, that I interrupted you. Please,
No, no,
please go.
no, no. You're
Not a problem. Not a problem. Ramya, do you have any questions? Otherwise, I have a couple of them. So
I also have some
yeah,
Yeah,
please do.
please go
jotted
on.
down.
Go ahead.
Would you like to start, Kritika?
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of veganism and vegan food is, right now in trend and everything. So for people who do not, eat normal dairy products or eggs and things like that. So what kind of protein source would you recommend them for them to be a part of the meal, especially for the vegan generation in today's world?
Oh my God, there is, and actually, one of the guests who's here, who's a silent observer, I'm not going to call him out, but that's Dr. Rao, who's actually here on the Zoom call. He is called Dr. Quinoa. So he and me, we work a lot together, and there is so many grains, lentils, pulses that is out there that I had mentioned may not be all put separately, that they would be good and sufficient or complete proteins. So a complete protein, an example is an egg, right? But a complete protein as a pulse cannot be any of this, like tur dal or rajma or urad dal by itself may not be a complete protein. But our ancestors have done a great job in enhancing that by adding it to other foods. For example, they're now growing a rice which has got 10 grams of protein per serving. Hi, Dr. Rao. Would you like to say a
Hello.
little here?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, please be my guest, and Kritika, if it's okay.
Be our guest. Be our guest,
Please,
Dr.
please.
Rao.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please.
Happy to
Thank you
have you
so
here.
much.
Please go ahead.
Dr. Rao, can you please give a little insight about some of the great foods that are vegetarian foods that are high in protein, and a little bit about the rice that that's being grown in India too?
Thanks. This is such a short notice, like an army call from Lalitha.
Always that's the case, right? That's
Yes,
okay, Dr. Rao.
I've been hearing all the points that she has been telling you. Wonderful, great, which we are talking for the last probably more than 8.5, 2 years. She summed up everything for you in such a short time in a very useful manner. As for the grains, we have 20 main grains in the world. Most of you must have eaten 2, 3, if not just only one South Indian rice. As she mentioned in her presentation, there's nothing wrong with any food. Vegan, non-vegan, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Only the lifestyle. And also she stressed the point, taking the names of the people on the screen, that what works for someone may not work for the other, even in the same family. There are so many correlations within the family, but you have to observe for each person. Coming to the rice and the other grains that she's talking, yes, quinoa is a grain that for the past 12 years I have been working with. Quinoa can easily replace every single dish that you can make with rice. If you are making with rice, quinoa can replace. Quinoa is the healthiest grain from one single angle. That is the calories. What you see as calories presented on the boxes of quinoa websites is not really true for quinoa, because this is the only grain that germinates when it is cooked. If rice or wheat, take rice as an example because cooking is fairly similar or identical. When you cook rice, the calories given on the box for rice exactly will be the same without any problem. Whereas when you cook quinoa, because it is germinating, germination is a process of high energy requirement to break the wall, grow more cells, which means the seed itself is spending its free energy. And therefore, quinoa is definitely, from one angle at least, is far better. The other one is protein. It has roughly double the protein that of rice. And the third angle is it has so many nutrients which are not available either in the same quantities or totally absent in other grains. We have published a 200-page book on quinoa alone, just quinoa, nutrition and health benefits. If any one of you are interested in, because you are the host for Lalitha, I can send the PDF file. The books that we printed were over a long time back, 5 years back. So I can send a PDF copy. Maybe Lalitha can send to you because she has it almost for 2 years, ever since we met. Then coming to the last point that she asked me to mention is about the protein. As a scientist, I genuinely believe that if you want something to happen in nature for you, for your benefit, you can find it. Whether it happens or not, it doesn't matter. It will happen in due course of time with a simple random statistical occurrence. If we are all South Indians, I'm also from Andhra Pradesh, and so I'm also a South Indian. I know that millions and millions will eat only rice, even if you tell them that you will die. But there is a solution for that in nature. In my search for higher protein, better varieties of rice for human body, we definitely found two different, very straightforward, naturally growing, organically can be grown rice varieties. One in India with 10% protein instead of 6 or 8. Definitely that is 25 to 30% more protein for in every meal in India itself. That is available for sale right now from Hyderabad, and anyone wants to know about it to your family's friends. This is a better gift than sending anything from Europe or from other Western countries, because it is increasing their protein without any effort on their part in the same manner as they eat every day to their satisfaction. In US, we have a 12% protein rice developed by Louisiana State University, grown by the farmers at Missouri. I visited both and I know them fairly well, and we can sell that rice as well. So she asked another point, that what are the good foods? We have a database of 1,000 food items. And to say what is good is very difficult. Of course, we are used to some of them. Imagine our ancestors did not eat the urud dal, as you all know, or peanuts or groundnuts. We would consider them as alien foods. So every food item, if taken in the quantities that your body can handle, is great, including alcohol.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. I think that was definitely very insightful, and super happy that you could present at such short notice. I didn't mean to put you on spot, but I think that was very critical. But that being said, Dr. Rao and me, we share a lot in the nutrition forum. We educate a lot of different people, seniors and others. And yes, his 1,000 database of foods is something that you should, Kritika should definitely look into. Maybe share it with IWF. Also wanted to make a point when he talked about the germination of quinoa, that many of your lentils that can be germinated, that can be the pulses that can be germinated. When you sprout your moong, when you sprout your rajma, when you sprout your chana, that they do typically during Navratri, and even during Karwa Chauth, they do those as fasting foods. Those are going to be higher in amino acid contents when you germinate them. Of course, they can be a little, high in gas levels and kind of throw a number in your stomach. So be gentle with eating them. Don't eat like a big bowl of sprouted beans and then you'll come back and hit me. So be careful about eating them. Be gentle about that. Also, a lot of the lentils, even in India, the rice varieties like Tene, Samai, Varag, all of these are all Tamil names. I'm talking about South Indian names, which is the staple state for rice consumption. There is so many other different rice varieties now they're growing, which is actually better processed and maintaining the protein content in it. So please be ensured that being a vegan, you can still get a lot of protein. You just need to be more mindful about getting sufficient amount of protein for yourself. So thank you so much, Dr. Rao, once again.
Actually, also from us, thank you so much. I have one question that very, very curious very interesting to know about the facts about quinoa. But is there any brand name for the 10% protein rice that is available in India? That will be helpful for us to know.
Dr. Rice.
It's called Dr. Rice?
Yes.
Oh,
And nobody
so easy. Very easy. Good name.
Nobody else is selling it.
Okay. Super nice to know. Lalitha, it will be great if you could add the link from Dr. Rao about the
Absolutely,
book.
my pleasure.
Quinoa, and also if the database is accessible for everyone, then if you could add that link in your slide, then it is the information is in one place.
Sure. Kritika, not to put you on the spot, but I think you definitely have a great speaker in Dr. Rao too. If for any other time, if you do want to share his insights with IWF, I think he's a wonderful, keynote speaker that you could have on board anytime later.
Thank you so much, because we are always on the lookout for speakers and who could address our community. And Dr. Rao, we will have a different session with you, not just on quinoa though, but other things as well.
It'll be a pleasure to know more. I mean, I think the session itself, we have so many questions and so interactive, so much, really informative. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ramya, do you have any question? Because if you do not have, or if you have, just ask. Otherwise, I have one last question for Lalitha before we wrap up.
It's not more of a question, but then I really liked the first slide when she talked about the me time and the we time and the child in you and things like that. And especially, I don't know how much in Finland, this season is normally.
Your voice is so breaking. Please.
Yeah, sorry. Now it's better now?
Yeah.
I was saying that I really loved your first slide where you talked about the me time and the we time and the child in you and things like that. And normally in Finland, this season is normally very difficult because of the darkness and things like that. So what would be the one thing that you would probably kind of recommend when, for somebody to do when they're kind of feeling low and, maybe one thing is not easy to say, but to keep your energy levels high and to feel positive and not to feel lonely or something like that. What would you think is a good thing to do?
Very good question, Ramya. And I think the COVID was a very good scenario for me to realize what to do, because I'm such a social person and I love being around people. I was almost like a walking woman Tarzan when I saw people for the first time and go, oh, it was like, I want people. I want to talk to people. It was like we were only talking through the virtual forums and it was very difficult. But that time I really, that was when I did the pageant competition. So that is something I love to do. And it was, great to be engaged in it. So every single person, all of us have that little something as passion that we would like to pursue. Maybe you wanted to be an actress when you were little. Maybe you wanted to be a writer when you were little. Maybe during the course of your college times, you loved to ride a bike, or maybe you wanted to do some gardening, or maybe you wanted to do some sewing, or maybe you wanted to do some fashion designing. Doesn't mean you have to do it for a profession. Just as a pursued passion, if you're able to continue that, maybe you want to take a dance lesson, maybe you want to do some music, and the medium that is available to you today is just unbelievable, right? There's no stop to it. It is endless. The opportunities are endless. So yes, it is a little difficult when you are in the down zone and when you're kind of confined and you're kind of limited into your resources with actually interacting with people. But I think it should be you who should probably jot out a little bit about what your interests would be and start with something that you would love the most to do. And when you get bored of that little something that you love the most to do, find another love the most to do. So it's a process. I know it is a process, but this is how life goes on. And we all go through our roller coaster rides, right? I mean, once you, like for me, I'm an empty nester now. I don't have my children at home and I'm jobless as a mother, so to say. But I do have other activities that I could engage myself, which I was not able to do when I was a mother and a full-time mom. So those are the things that you need to keep exploring and self-reflecting on what you should do. So your 5-year plan or your 10-year plan should all be written down or stashed somewhere, and start picking out from that and start doing activities. And love yourself for what you do. So then you don't need anybody else sometimes.
I really love what you just said. And I think, here listening to you itself kind of, increases positivity somehow. So in that sense, thank you so much for today's talk.
You're
Really,
most
really
welcome.
loved it.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
humbled. Thank you.
Lalo, I have the last question.
Sure.
I have the honor of asking you the last question, I guess. The session was about personalizing care for oneself, isn't it?
Mhm.
And you have given us so many tips and guidance. But you are a living proof of that. And you are such a personality with so many hats, and you take up so many roles, and your day is so full of activities. So can you run through us of what you are doing today, what kind of food that you're going to eat today, and what is going to be your schedule, so that we are able to relate, hey, how is she practicing her, her lecture to us, and how do we see it in your life? Either today or Monday, pick any schedule, or what you did yesterday, pick any schedule, what you ate, and just your daily routine, and what you're eating and what you're doing.
Excellent. Okay, you put me on the spot, girl, but
Yeah,
nevertheless.
because you always do that for others. So, I wanted to take a revenge for Dr. Rao.
I
Dr. Rao,
love
we are on
you.
your side.
I love you. I love you. Yes, I would love to share that with everybody. And yes, the mirror is your reflection, and what you speak is what you need to be. And true to my words, the reason I've been able to, I shouldn't say, been able to flourish, but been successful in what I do is only because I do reflect on many of the things that I say. That starts off with staying healthy, starts off with staying active. So a typical routine is after I get up in the morning, I would eat my breakfast. I would not skip breakfast for whatsoever reason, how much ever busier I am, even if it means I have to go for a quick pick. Sometimes these days, as I was talking about keeping your gut healthy, I've started doing the good old recipe of grandmas, where they put the little rice in a pot, the pre-cooked rice from the previous night, add a little bit of sea salt to it, put a little buttermilk, churn it up, and drink that. That could be a simple breakfast. And I could have some pickle with it, homemade pickle. Sometimes I would do like a typical lentil-based, protein-based breakfast. I would cook some idli or dosha or something for me. And my mother-in-law is like, anybody else can miss breakfast at home, but Lalitha will not. She knows when she has to eat. So that is very important for me. And I think the reason why I am so gung-ho about health is that thyroid cancer that startled me, that, I need to live, and I need to live long and live well, to not only contribute for myself, but for the world too. Especially my family. So the routine goes on where I would have classes in the morning, teach music, or teach dancing. And I think one of the biggest things that I probably have found out for myself is most of what I do, I learned to love it. And there are things that I may do mundane, right? I mean, like folding clothes or putting the dishwasher, or things which you don't want to do, but then I do that with something that I love to do also. So maybe when I'm cooking or putting the dishwasher, I listen to music. Then I'm not even aware of what I do. The worst thing I do is to fold clothes. So then when I'm folding clothes, I'll be listening to some jati, or I'll be doing some dance in my mind, or I'll be choreographing something. So this is a process I've learned. It's not like I just was born with all of these skills. It is over a period of time. And I think Maybe I call myself more wise and more experienced now where I am than when I was 20 years old. So I don't want to go to be 20, but I would love to be 20 at 47. So yeah, so it's very common with most of us. I think the biggest thing that needs to be remembered is that life does come with a box of chocolates, different varieties, as Forrest Gump says. Keep trying them. One may taste bitter, one may taste salty, and you just have to keep going at it. There are my low days, there are my high days, and my family probably gets the main brunt of it. But when I am at a public appearance, I try to keep my best. Yeah, so it goes on like that, but I am very particular about my nutrition, my hydration. I do not succumb to pressure, even when I'm in a social gathering, whether I'm watched at or I'm not watched at. I do not go for extra servings just because I have to please somebody. I am a teetotaler, so I don't drink. And, you know, there are times where I probably am a total party pooper, where people are like, you know, you're not doing a good job by not drinking, you know, drink for us. So there are certain principles that I do follow, which for good reasons has worked for me. I don't know how it's going to be in the years to come, but so far so good. And as modest and humble as I can be, I would only thank that for the support system that I have. And I think that's something that you create also for yourself.
Thank you so much. And we can't thank you enough, but we still do. And also Dr. Rao, who came as a bonus for us and added value to the session by telling about quinoa. Thank you both so much. And also for all our fellow volunteers for organizing this session. So to sum up for the whole of the audience, what we have spoken about today is you are what you eat. So choose carefully and eat everything in moderation. Moderation is the key for all of us. Add quinoa or include quinoa to your diet. That's another important point. And what suits you may not suit the other. That's the other important point to remember. But the most important of all is what you said in the beginning. Do what you love and love what you do, even in eating and in taking care of yourself. So there has to be a me and also a we in your daily routine. So thanks so much for the whole team, and Lalu, special thanks to you, and Kisses from Finland. Welcome and visit us. And Dr. Rao, the invitation is extended to you as well. Please join us in our next session, and welcome to visit us in Finland. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
everybody.
from me as well. Real pleasure having both of you here today, and it was a very, very informative session. And like I said, the energy levels were boosted as well. Total love and care all the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was
Thank
really nice meeting you both and hearing from you both as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wishing you all a very happy Diwali in advance, and stay well and stay safe and stay happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.